Hi everyone. Today's lesson's on plant tropisms. You see, all organisms, even plants, have the ability to respond to their environment. Now, it doesn't seem like plants are very responsive. For example, if you chop down a tree, that tree doesn't scream, it doesn't fight back, it doesn't try to run away, it doesn't do anything, really. But plants do respond to the environment. They just do it in ways that we don't notice. Alright? So when they respond, they do it much slower and over a long period of time and in a way that's way too subtle for us to catch. One of the biggest ways that plants respond to their environment is something called tropism. Alright? Tropisms just means that the plant's simply bending towards or away from some type of stimulus. That stimulus could be light, it could be heat, it could be gravity, it could be a touch, it could be anything. So phototropism is the first type of tropism that we need to talk about, and this is a response to light. Have you ever noticed that when you have a houseplant growing in front of a window, it always wants to bend towards the window? So you see your houseplant and it's leaning towards the window, so you turn it, and a couple weeks later it's leaning towards the window again. Well, that houseplant's always going to bend towards the light because plants will exhibit something called positive phototropism. Right? So it's positive because it's growing towards the stimulus. It's phototropism because the stimulus is light. Okay. Now this is a very important adaptation for plants because it allows them to find the most light in order to perform photosynthesis, which of course is how plants obtain the energy they need to survive. Another type of tropism is gravitropism. And gravitropism is a plant's response to gravity. Now, if you have positive gravitropism, that means that you are growing with the effects of gravity. Then the gravity pushes down, so roots will always exhibit positive gravitropism. They'll go wherever gravity pushes them. The shoot, or the stems and the leaves, will always exhibit negative gravitropism because they grow against the force of gravity. Right? This is how a plant knows which way's up and which way's down. You think about it when you throw corn seeds in the ground and grow that corn stalk, you don't ever have to worry about planting that seed upside down. Right? So here we have the seed planted upside down. The root is always the first part of the embryo to emerge from the seed. This root quickly realizes that it is growing against the force of gravity, which is the wrong direction. So it bangs a U-turn and starts growing down. Okay? It doesn't matter which way you orient the seed initially. The root will always find down, and the stem will always find up due to the gravitropism. Okay? If you take a fully grown plant, like a potted plant, and you flip it on its side, right, again, it won't continue growing out horizontally. Right? That stem always needs to be growing against the force of gravity, and that's going to cause it to bend upwards. Right? Here we see an astronaut handling some plants in a space station. When we tried growing plants initially without gravity, we ended up with a plant that was just a perfect ball, like a tangled mess of roots, stems, and leaves growing in every single direction because they didn't know which way was up and which way was down due to a lack of gravity. So in this space station, they have a special chamber, right, in the physical barrier that separates the roots and the stems from the plant. And this is how we can have plants growing on all sides, even the ceiling of the space station here. The final tropism I want to talk about is called Thigmotropism. Thigmotropism is a plant's response to touch. Right? Often we see this with vines. Right? And we see positive thigmotropism, which means that the vine is going to grow towards some type of solid object. Right? Now, once it comes in contact with that object, it changes its growth pattern. It kind of like coils around it. These coils are called tendrils, right? And that's how they climb up solid objects in order to support themselves. Right? In order to find that object initially, when this vine starts growing, it doesn't grow straight up, but it grows in this circular pattern. It's constantly whipping around and whipping around and whipping around until it finally bumps into something. Once it bumps into something, it coils around it and puts all of its energy in growing towards that object. So that's an example of thigmotropism. Alright guys, that's it for today's lesson. Thanks for listening.